I was born 1920 and year of a monkey.
Alice Waters calls her the Julia Child of Chinese cooking. I call her Nai Nai, Grandma in Chinese. Since the early 60s, she's been friend and teacher to Julia and other icons of American cuisine, including James Beard, Chuck Williams, and a young Alice Waters. Cecilia Chiang continues to be a friend and mentor to many of San Francisco's chefs and restaurateurs. Nai Nai's remarkable journey began long ago in a China that no longer exists.
I was born in Wuxi, a small town near Shanghai. And when I was about 4 or 5 years old, my whole family moved from Wuxi to Beijing. I'm from a big family. We have 9 sisters and 3 brothers. I'm the number 7 daughter in the family. Because too many kids, so my mother called all the daughters by numbers. In those days especially, father usually always the boss. But my mother was the boss.
Like her mom, Nai Nai was a feminist when feminism wasn't even a thing. But her idyllic life was abruptly interrupted when the Japanese invaded China in 1937. Nai Nai survived the Japanese occupation by leaving her family behind. A decade later, the communists took over, and Nai Nai was forced to flee again. It would be some 35 years later that she would learn how the war and occupation had devastated her family.
This is something we learned since we were young. We learn how to tolerate. You have to tolerate with the situation, tolerate with the war, tolerate with the separation with the family, because this is heaven all the time in our country.
But my grandmother has always been a resilient woman, and in 1954 she sailed into her new home, San Francisco.
You heard so much about United States. Also, you see a lot of movies about United States. After you get here, not quite the same. The Chinese said, such a rich country, everywhere is covered with gold, When you get here, I see everybody is really working hard. And also, I realize what is really democracy. Because in China, we didn't have it at all.
San Francisco was a foreign place in every sense. Even the large Chinese immigrant community was alien to Nai Nai. It was populated with Cantonese, descendants of the laborers who had come to build America's railroads. But Nai Nai spoke Mandarin, not Cantonese, and couldn't communicate with her fellow immigrants, much less relate to the food they were serving.
In a way, after I taste all the food in Chinatown, I decided that I really want to educate Americans tell them what is real Chinese food.
Despite the fact that my grandmother had never cooked, she opened a modest restaurant on Polk Street, the Mandarin.
I was the busboy. I was the host. I was the one answering the phone, making reservation, everything. It's kind of a miracle. After 1 year and a half, the business is still very slow. Maybe I was very naive. I just thought I could make it.
Then Herb Caen came to the restaurant. Caen wrote the Society column, a daily on the front page of the Chronicle. One mention of the Mandarin, and a legend was launched.
The phone just keeps ringing, back and forth. What happened? This is so strange. The phone just keeps ringing. Everybody asked for a reservation.
From that moment on, there were lines out the door. Building on her remarkable success, Cecilia took another huge risk and expanded to a much larger white tablecloth space in the newly renovated Ghirardelli Square. Later, she would open in Beverly Hills. Both Mandarins attracted food lovers and celebrities alike. It was said to be the best Chinese food in America, But what really made the Mandarin so special was the boss lady, Madame Chiang, who graced the front of the house.